Good morning, boys and girls. Can you hear me? Okie doke. Here's our 2-minute commercial. Today is December 12th, 2020. And here's where we are on the calendar. There's no meeting on Christmas Day, as you know. So next week, the 19th will be our last meeting until the new year. We're dark on the 26th and also on the 2nd. So we'll meet today, we'll meet on the 19th, and then we will skip 2 weeks and we'll meet on the 9th. The holiday social is officially canceled, and the Leisure World Foundation exhibit is a rain check until 2022. Here's where we are on today's, on the regular calendar.
Bob, excuse me.
Yes.
The holiday party is canceled for the year, or are we looking at possibly rescheduling it at a different time?
At the board meeting, we decided to cancel it, but oh no, that would are you talking about the end of season gathering? That's still on at this point. That's still a question mark.
Okay, so nothing in January and nothing until the end of season.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
There's still a chance that we can get together, but Arizona's figures are going to have to drop a lot, and it's going to be a lot different than it is right now, that's for sure.
Oh, believe me, I'm not advocating
exactly.
our lives. So.
All right, so here's where we are today is December 12th. Our own Chris Shaw is going to give us some tricks and tips about Flickr. And then next week we'll meet, and the weekly challenge is emotion. I sent you a little guide this morning that might help you figure out what an emotion is, and that might give you some help. And then, like I say, we're dark for 2 weeks and we're not back until January 9th. Okay. Just a reminder, there's your box where you drop everything that you need to drop. The monthly challenges are.
Bob, are you thinking that we're seeing your screen? Because we're not.
Oh, for heaven's sake. Thank you so much for saying something. Anyway. Okay. Now I can't get the, there we go. Can't get my keyboard to work now. Yeah, just a second here. We went through the activity calendar. We showed where we were. Okay, this is where I was telling you that today is the 12th, and we got Flickr today. Next week is the emotion, and then we're dark for 2 weeks. We meet back in January 9th. Okay. There's the Dropbox where you drop all your stuff, dues, pictures, thumb drives, whatever you want to drop, you can drop it right there. In the monthly challenges, we got desert wildflowers going right now. Ruth happened to catch that. She said, didn't we just have wildflowers? And she was right. But the last one we had was cactus flowers. So this is desert wildflowers. A little same song, second verse, but anyway, that's the distinction. January, we're going to have waterscapes, and then February will be insects. And basically that's just 3 photos for 3 gold stars, and you're on your way. That's the gold star recap, but that's inactive at this point. Just start turning in your photos for December, and we'll go from there. Deadline December 31st. Anybody have questions or answers that you need answers for? With that, I'm going to turn it over to Chris. Okay, Chris, you're up.
Good morning, everybody. How are you guys? Good. A couple things right off the bat. Can you guys see my screen? Please feel free to take yourself off mute. Okay, so a couple things to start, just some regular maintenance type stuff. If you have any questions for me and you don't feel like blurting them out in the middle of the session, my email I posted in the chat room, which is chris@sqlshaw.com. I also put in the website of Flickr in case you guys want to take a, if you didn't catch the name of it, it is Flickr, but without the E. Sometimes people can get confused on it a little bit. The other thing that I like to do is I have a bad habit where I talk really fast sometimes. And if I'm talking too fast, and that means you're not listening fast enough. So I need you guys to bear with me and pick up your listening. Um, if I say something and you don't understand, or if you guys want me to stop and explain something further, please let me know. I want this to be a very interactive session. I want everybody to learn from it and to get something from it. If everybody came out of the class today and said, "Hey, I got something from this," that would make my time well spent. And I'm really excited about doing this for everybody. So the more questions I get, the more that you guys drive this, the better it's going to be. If it's just me going through 5 or 6 bullet points, it's going to go really fast and everybody's going to be really bored. And I don't want that. I want everybody to kind of. So, where am I going to start? Well, let's talk about Flickr itself. What is Flickr, and why would you want to consider using Flickr? There's a couple reasons in particular why I went out to go find Flickr. When I picked up photography about 10 years ago and I started sharing some photographs, and it's funny because when you walk around the camera and you start taking pictures, eventually somebody's going to be up behind you going, "Hey, can I get a copy of that?" Or "I sure would like to see that." Or "What about this?" And so I thought, "Oh, okay. Well, I'm in the social media area." So I started posting those photos to Facebook, and I quickly learned that if you're a photographer and you post something to Facebook, that you now relinquish the rights to that photograph and the copyright to it, and you're giving them away to Facebook. As a matter of fact, if you do it on LinkedIn, if you do it on Twitter, if you do it on most social media sites, as soon as you post that, you lose all sorts of copyright to that. And it doesn't sound like it's that big of a deal, especially at least in the situation or paradigm that I was in when I first started. It's like I just started doing photography. I haven't even been doing it for a year at that point. And I thought, you know what? If somebody wants to use one of my photos, I don't care. But I'll tell you a story. Is I'm a very active bird photographer, and um, I was down in South Texas and I took a photo of a green jay, which I may be able to show you a little bit later, some of these photos. But it was a very particular photo because the feathers on the back of the green jay were sticking up in a certain direction. And in fact, I kind of considered it a flaw in the photo. I didn't think anything of it. And I posted the photo on Facebook. The next year, I was down in Texas, and out came the Department of Fish and Game and the Wildlife's catalog for the year. I opened up the newsletter, which is a catalog telling you how to get your fishing license, and there was a photo of a green jay on the third page. And I'm looking at this photo and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this photo looks really familiar. Where did I?" And I went and looked on my computer. It is my photo. They took my photo without giving me any sort of credit, without giving me any payment, without even asking permission. They printed it in a catalog and shared it. So since that time going forward, I always wanted to make sure that I was maintaining ownership of my photos. At the same time, I was able to share my photos with people who have like interests that I do. And that's the whole point of Flickr. Flickr gives you the opportunity to maintain the copyright, to maintain all the rights that you have. At the same time, you can share your photos in different groups and with different organizations all at the same time. Before we really get started, I'll give you a quick kind of view of what Flickr looks like. Um, Flickr looks like a social media site that you would expect to see from any other type of social media site, except it's images only. It's a little different from Instagram because Flickr is made for photographers. There's thousands of users that are on Flickr, and you can have friends. people can follow you. When you follow photographers and photographers follow you, on your main page, you're going to see that list of photographers that you follow. I see we have no questions so far. We're going to start going through bullet points real quick. Feel free to jump in if you've got a question. Another disclaimer that I want to make sure that I make real quick before we start going through Flickr and we start going to see what's inside here. Flickr is a photography website. Photography is considered an art. Sometimes people that look at art think different things are art. I'm trying to find a sensitive way of saying you will see nudity on Flickr. It's not a lot. You're not going to be overwhelmed. It is there.
We're adults,
If
Chris,
I
we'll
had-
be okay.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that if I accidentally, if I do a search, something pops up and everybody's like, it's not that bad. And you'll see by most of the stuff that I do, because I'm not interested in that type of photography, you'll see that most of my stuff is, contains birds, flowers, animals, landscapes, everything. I love the photo for. As I'm going through my mainstream, if I see a photo that I like, let's say I like this photo of horses a lot, I can simply come over here and I can say, wow, that's a great photo. And I can favorite it. And then later I can go to my favorites and I will see all the photos that I've favorited. In addition, I can click on the photo and see a lot more information about the photo. When the photograph was taken, you can see what kind of camera it was. This is really helpful, especially with new photographers or people that are looking at getting into a professional camera or a better camera. As you can tell, I can see that it was taken with the Nikon D500. I can see what their f-stop was, their focal length, their shutter speed, the ISO, whether or not the flash fired. You can see the different EXIF diagram. And this is what I really like. You can see all the different other comments people have made on this image. And these are called awards. And we'll talk a little bit more about awards in a little bit. So I'm going to leave a comment here and just let them know, wow, great job. I apologize. My typing is not always. So you get the opportunity where you can add photos that you like, and you can see that the images, the favorites have gone up because I clicked on it. 9 different people have commented on it, and there's lots of information. Now, if you're considering and you're like, okay, well, what about the stuff that I share? There's a couple questions, I guess, this is my photo stream. These are the photos that I've posted here on Flickr. You have a choice whenever you post an image, and we're going to upload one here in a couple minutes, to whether or not your photos are going to appear on your personal or on your, or if they're public, right? So I get to decide who in the general public can review these photographs. These are all photos that I've taken at some point over the last few years, 10 years, or whatever the case may be. Some of these photos you guys may recognize if you belong to the Leisure World Flickr group. It's important to understand that you have your own area of Flickr and you control what gets seen and what doesn't get seen. I can go to my friends and family view, and since these are all public, all my friends and family can see those as well. What you do? Oh, family view. Yeah, it's not going to change them because I make all my photographs are all public. I have some older ones that are there. Inside your photo stream, these are put in order that you uploaded them. So you'll see that there's no particular order. I've got some landscapes that I did with the hike recently. I got some flowers, some owls. I'm all over the place. A friend that I photographed down in Texas, lots of birds. There's my green jay that I was talking to you about. He's really pretty. Caracaras, all sorts of photos, right? This is really random. And a way that you can get around seeing all of this randomness around photos is you can build albums. Come up here to the album tab and I'll show you how to create new ones. You can do it from here, but you can do it as you upload photos. And I'll show you that in a second. One of the things that I really like are owls. I created an album that's just for owls. And when you add a photo to a specific album, that gives people the opportunity, if they're flicking through your albums, that they can actually say, "Oh, look, let's see what photographs Chris sold in the past. These are the images that I've taken, and every time I sell an image, I just tag it and add it to this album just because, well, I like the image and I thought somebody else might like it and they bought it." So, any questions about the photo stream or the albums yet? Am I really boring you guys? Is this good and helpful?
Oh, you mentioned something about selling. Can you sell from this site also?
You can't, not currently. There's a couple that you can sell from. What you can do is you can take your Flickr links on these images. Like, let's say we like this owl photo. This is a unique link that's up here. And you can copy this link and put this into other things like SmugMug. You'll be able to do some selling there. There's a couple other sites that you can sell these on.
That's who I use for albums. So I could, yeah, that's who I use for albums. So I could link it over to SmugMug and sell it there.
In some of the there's a couple websites out there. Well, they'll actually go and ask for an image. But I used to do a lot of shows. When I did the shows, I would sell photographs there. These are traditionally the photographs that I would take to a show or won an award. I actually have an album that you can see here that is all awards. And honestly, I don't know if I've kept up on it. It's probably pretty old. But one of my albums down here is awards. So there it is. These are, I haven't updated this, but these are different photos that I've taken that have won an award at a show. The idea is here, though, that I'm trying to get across is not, hey, look at Chris, he's a great photographer. It's you can group your photos by anything that you want. This is completely under your control. I love to take images like that, where landscapes, but we'll see one of those more in a few minutes. Does that answer your question, Bob?
Yes, it does.
Awesome. Anybody else have any questions before we jump into groups? So the next, go back to the main page, my home page. The next thing that I want that's really kind of relevant to this group, that you can organize your photos. You can share your photos with certain friends of yours. For example, if you Leisure World group, this Leisure World photography group, we have our own group. So if we come in here, we look for Leisure World, and I look for it as group. We're the very first one that pops up, Leisure World Friends. If you click on here, these are all photographs that have been posted by Leisure World photography members. We've had this group up for, I want to say, almost a year now, maybe a little bit over a year. And I think Bob puts a lot in here. I put quite a few. There's a number of contributors that have put in there. There's a couple other things that you'll find that are really neat about groups. And that is, we have discussions inside of our group. There's something in particular that you have a question on about photography, you can quickly post it in here and you can say, you know what, I'm really looking I want to learn more information about Flickr. Well, we have a discussion where you can learn more about Flickr. Or where do we want to go shoot? I'm trying to remember the lady's name. I think it's Alex. She does the tours around Arizona. She has a lot of really good information about where she might want to go. Hey, if you want to take a field trip and you don't want to do an organized field trip, you just want to go by yourself. You can come in here and post in here. Hey, this is a great place where I went and did a little field trip photograph. So before we go to the next step, so does everybody have a good understanding of groups, albums, your photo stream, Okay, let's start from the beginning. If you're new to
Sorry, I have a
Flickr,
question. Are you, Chris, are you going to cover how we joined the Leisure World Flickr group?
that is exactly what I was going into right now.
Okay,
Yep. So when you first log on to Flickr, I logged off to Flickr. I created a what they call an incognito connection, so it doesn't know who I am. The website does it. This is what you're first going to see. You have the opportunity to log in from here, or you can sign up. If you decide you want to sign up, you just simply click this button, and it's going to present you with your basic information, right? First name, last name, age, email address, and password. I have no idea why they want to know your age. After you get to this information, you're going to be presented at some point with the opportunity if you want to be a paying member or if you want to do this for free. Since I already have an account, I'm not going to create a new one and go through it. But I did take a screenshot of some of the prices because people wanted to get an idea. This is only if you do a pro subscription, and I'll show you the benefits of a pro subscription here in a few minutes. These are the prices at $7 a month or $60 a year, $20 if you want to do it 3 months at a time. There is a free option. The difference between the free option is you're going to see some advertisements and photos on occasion that pop up and link. And then the other thing is you won't be able to see your statistics. Some of the other benefits to having a membership is you get a lot of discounts in different places. Serious photographers or more photographers that have financial habits on it like I do may notice the name of Peak Design is a company that makes a lot of really neat straps, tripods, a lot of camera accessories. You can get 20% off if you are a member with Flickr. There's a lot of classes you get 50% off on. There's a lot of benefits to being a member. The biggest one for me is the statistical information because I'm a data guy. And so when I start looking at my photographs and I'm like, oh, okay, what's interesting here? I can come to my photo stream, and if I go to stats, this is going to tell me all of the information that I want to know about my photographs. How many views I've had today, how many views I've had over the lifetime that my photos have produced over 189,000 views. I don't know what the difference between people that viewed albums but not photos. I don't know if I really paid attention. I don't have any galleries or collections up at this point. I think, and I really haven't dove into those because I haven't seen any of those. Today, I posted this photo yesterday for the Lost Dutchman just so that I could have something, show you something that came up recently. But today, this photo has already produced 61 views, and I just posted it.
Excuse me, Chris, how did we get in here?
Say again?
What's the breadcrumb to here?
All you have to do is go to you and then stats.
Thanks.
You bet. You can see that I've got, this is my most popular photo of all time. It's this image of a flower. It'll tell me the daily views on it. If I click on it again, I get to see the photo. Again, just want to show you a quick, this is what it is, not necessarily, I don't expect everybody to start having all the time. So then the question was, how do you join the group? Well, after you have an account, all you can do is simply come up here and search for a group. Elaine, was that you that prompted that question? Who asked the question about the groups?
that was me, Helen.
Helen, yeah.
Helen, what are one of the interests that you have about photography that you like?
I love to photograph nature as well.
Okay, so let's look at nature. When you come up here to your search bar, you click on nature and you go to search groups. These are all the different groups that I'm already a part of that do nature photographs.
Oh, wow.
But if I keep scrolling down, I can see that there's a whole bunch more of nature photographs groups that I've never joined. There's a lot of these, and I'm not even halfway through them yet. If you like nature, you're gonna have lots of nature photographs. Some interesting stuff that you'll see here is whatever this one is, nature in general, something, probably general animal photography. This has 226,000 photos in it. And it's got 4,300 members. So you know what? I like nature. I'm going to join that group. I simply joined it by going there. So now let's go see the group and what was it called? Nature in general. See if we get it to pop up in my right here. Now I can just come up here and click. I can view all the photos that are in this group. And immediately, right? I mean, immediately as I come in here, I'm like, ooh, I like that owl photo. Some nice long-eared owl. I'm just going to favorite it.
That's right. It's a good owl.
Oh, oh, look at this butterfly. He's pretty. I'm not the only person who thinks so. He's got 84 likes. Got a couple ducks. It looks like a warbler. Nice little mountain lion getting some sun. That's how you look and join a group. Now, what's really interesting is I think I have an owl photo that this group might like. Well, I can simply add a photo from this button, or you can add it directly from your photo that you're on. So let's say I like this one, right? Sunlight's not as good on there as I'd like, but I think it'll fit well in the group. I can come down here and simply say, hey, you know what? I want to add this photo to the group. What group do I want to add it to? Well, I can scroll down and find it in the list of groups that I'm a member of, or I can simply type nature. Apparently, I'm part of more than one nature group. This is it, the nature and general animal photography.
Yep.
Posted in there. Done. Now, see how I'm going to go back to that group site. And if I go back to the photos, there's my image. Ellen, does that answer your question about how to join a group?
Yes, thank you. It seems very simple.
It is really easy. And I'll tell you, it's really easy to get lost in Flickr. You really enjoy looking at photographs. You're going to go, I have spent hours just reviewing photos, and kind of that's where the disclaimer comes from. You start following things and you're like, next thing you know, nature, and you're like, whoa, didn't mean to see that. If we go back to the leisure world, right? From leisure world, LEISURE, we go to search group. As soon as you search that on the groups, you can come in here and you just click the join button. Once you click the join button, you do have to be a member of this photography club to be a member of this group. And so I think Bob and I are the only people that can actually approve, and maybe Butch as well, new members that are coming in. So every now and then, every couple
That's right.
days,
You and me
every
and Butch.
day,
Yeah.
I'll come in here and I'll approve people being a member. We can see, Perkins is here, Ruth is here, Jane, Walter. These are all the people that are currently members. Anybody, this now, if you get a new photo that posts to this group and you're a member of this group, you very well could get a email that says, hey, look, Chris posted a new photo in the Leisure World group. How are we doing, everybody? Anybody have any questions? If not, I'm going to go to how do you upload your photo?
Sounds good, Chris.
All right. We're going to come back over here, and we're now back to my photo stream, and we can see that I went and I did the hike 2 months ago, and on this hike, I went up to the Lost Dutchman. I don't know where the Lost Dutchman is if you look to the east from Leisure World, about, I don't know, miles, there's a cliff rock face. So maybe this view will look a little bit more familiar. So my wife and I hiked up to the base of this. We were right behind the rock here as far as we made it. And then I'm like, yeah, I've had enough of this. As a matter of fact, that's where this photograph was taken. I think this is a really neat photo and I want to upload it. So how do we do that? Well, I'm going to come over here. I know that I saved it. That photo's here is in my documents folder under export. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to where the little cloud is. I'm going to click the upload button. It's going to give me the opportunity where I can just drag the photo. So let's upload this one here. Drag and drop. You see that it automatically came on. Okay. I can also, let's remove that for now. The other way that I can do it is tell it I want to choose which photo. And it's automatically come to my directory that has the download and export in it. What I'm going to do is I want to upload these two photos. I'm going to upload this one of my wife and my kid. Then we took a photo of them in Sedona. This is like a pre-staged screen. This is telling you that these are the photos that you want to upload. And I'm done, really. If I wanted to, I can come up here and say, upload these 3 photographs. I'm done. But then I started thinking about it and going, you know what? My wife and I she doesn't always want her photo being shown to everybody. So now I need to change the permissions on it. See how, like, when I can highlight all of them, they get a little pink square around them? Anything that I do over here on the left-hand side is going to take effect to the photos that are highlighted. This photo in particular, just this one, I want to change this to, is it visible to everyone? No, I want to make it visible to only my family. Are still going to be visible to everyone. Do I want all the rights reserved? Yes, I do. That means that I own these photographs and I'm keeping a copyright on them. A lot of questions that you may start to get when you start to join Flickr is how to get more views to your photograph. We're photographers, we're artists, right? And art is a two-way street. There's 2 sides to art. You have the side of art where you're the photographer and you're making the piece of art, whether it's a painting, whether it's a drawing or a fabric arts, and you're sewing a quilt. There's always 2 sides, because the other side is people want to see your art, and there's a way to view your art. If people want to see photos of the Lost Dutchman, how are they going to know that's where they want to go? Right? How is this going to appear? Well, one of the things is the title. When you upload a photo, I recommend you give every one of your photos that's relevant. We're just going to call this the Lost Dutchman. And we're going to call this one the Lost Dutchman. I can add a description to each one of these, or I can add a description to all of them at the same time. How do I do that? I highlight it, I click down here, and I say, well, what's my description? Photos from Arizona, Arizona. That's one way, right? People can search by title. People can search by description. Do you see how all 3 photos got the same description at the same time? But this one was done in Sedona, Sedona. If not, I'll go fix it later. But these are from the Lost Dutchman. If you're not following this, or if I'm going too quick for you, all we're trying to do is edit the information that we're tagging with these, right? So you can do one at a time if you don't feel comfortable in doing them both at the same time, or all 3 at the same time. There's other ways that you can get your searches to appear, your photos to appear in search results. And These are called tags. You can come down here and add a tag photos. When you look at these, and I know that these are really small images, but when you look at these photos, what are some of the words that come to your mind? Anybody want to say what comes to your mind when you see these photos? Anything. Like one of the things that comes to my mind is the color red. Anybody have anything else that comes to mind when they look at any of these?
You mean for tags like family or something?
Yeah. So I could do that. I could just do this one here, add a tag that says family.
You could
Mountains.
maybe
Now,
say adventure on that third one. Hiking adventure.
Arizona.
Arizona, that goes for all three of them, right?
Oh, that's everybody. But hiking adventure would be that.
Yeah, okay, so and the hiking adventure is great, but what it does, what their interface does is it'll actually split those up into two tags.
I
One tag
see.
will be hiking and the other one will be adventure.
I
Um,
see.
which is really interesting because like if you there's a really neat place down in Yuma, prison down there, and I think it's like state historical prison, and let's say I wanted to put state historical prison on there, well it sees that as three individual tags, so it just got tagged with prison on there. I don't know what's going to come up if you search for prison, right?
Well, that won't
So
do.
So Chris, on this, what you're just putting metadata in for people to search on?
100% yes.
Okay,
Great question, Charlene. That is on the technical side. That's all we're doing is adding metadata tags. I just added Nikon because I always shoot with the Nikon. Desert photos, CRT. I always do desert, state parks. You want to put as many tags as you can think of in each one of these if you can. Down the road, this is going to help you a lot. So,
Chris, what if you have keywords in your photos? What if you already have keywords in your photos? Will it pick those up?
it depends. It depends on what application you added your keywords with. I've seen that mine do get picked up with Lightroom on occasion. Sometimes they don't. I've just started using Lightroom to its fullest ability, so I don't know if I'm tagging my Lightroom stuff. Yes, if your image already has metadata attached to it, it will usually pick it up.
Okay, thanks.
Remember we talked about albums earlier? I can add these to an album while I'm here. Remember I was showing you I had an album for owls and I had an album for desert. Well, look at this. I've got one for landscape. So I'm going to add these photos to my landscape album and to my desert album at the same time. Now I'm not going to put this on reflections or sold. There's no animals, although my son can sometimes be considered one. Sandcastles. I didn't take these in Chicago. No dragonflies. I think I mentioned before I love to take photos of cemeteries. I think that pretty much covers the groups that I want it done in. So now groups, or excuse me, these are the albums. Now groups. Here, what groups am I a member of? Well, if the folks here at Leisure World, let's do this. Want to see these photos up close and in a bigger version. Just add these to the Leisure World Friends and Family group. This means that as soon as I finish uploading these photos are going to already be in the Leisure World group. And Bob, if he goes and logs on as Leisure World, if he wants later, and he likes that photo, he can like it and he can make a comment on it. He could say, you know what, Chris, you shot into the sun. You're going to ruin the sensor on your camera. You're dumb. Whatever comment he wants. So I can come over here now that I'm all done and I'll say upload photo. It's going to tell me what I'm doing. I'm making 2 of those photos as public One of them is limited to just family members. I have 3 items with tag. I have 3 items in albums, and I have 2 different items that I'm adding to a group. And I upload it. The nice thing is, the nice thing is as you start to add these to groups, you'll notice that when you're starting to upload, as soon as you add a photo, it starts to do the upload immediately. So as you're going through and it's uploading, you can still add tags, you can still do all that different stuff that you want to do, and then the photo will come up. Now that I'm here, you can see that since this is my view, I can see this photo, but the public isn't going to see this photo. But this one, everyone's going to see. And if I click on this photo, you'll see that it has no views yet, no favorites, and no comments. That's okay. But if I come down to groups, you can see that it's already in the Leisure World Photography group. And if I click here and I go to the Leisure World Photography groups, that this photo, along with the next photo, I've updated, I've put in there. And there's my title. There's my description. If you want to see what other albums it's in and what other photos that I've taken in the desert. This one, I think last summer. So that's a quick rundown of groups and uploading and how that goes. The last thing that I want to show you, does anybody have any questions so far?
I do, Chris.
Okay.
This is Charlene. Can you establish a number of groups? You personally, can you have not join groups, but like make more than one group?
Yes. I don't know what the limit is. As long as you're a pro member, I think it's unlimited number of groups that you can create. But yes, you can. And I don't know I don't think you have to be a pro member because Bob, I don't think Butch was a pro member. Do you?
I think he was.
I think he was, yeah.
Yeah, no, he's not. So
Oh, for
and I
heaven's
think,
sake.
yeah, Butch created this group and he's not a pro member.
And what are the
So
rights to a pro member?
what are the
The rights as opposed to the rest of us.
so a pro member is just whether or not you have a paid subscription to Flickr
Okay.
or if you're doing the free. So if you're doing the free subscription, you can't, it doesn't look, well, you can create groups. Just don't know what the limit is on the number of groups you can create. And the idea, obviously, when you create a group is to share it with a bunch of people so you get a bunch of people that are in your group. Did that answer your question, Charlene?
It did. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, so there's one other thing that I want to show you that's around groups. And this is more towards getting your art seen by people, right? What that is, and the reason that I uploaded this photo yesterday is specifically because I wanted to show you how you can get your image viewed and how you can share your image with different people. You can see within, like I said, less than 24 hours ago, I uploaded this photo. By the way, something else that you can do that's really kind of neat, it's a little clunky, the way that you do it. Maybe if we have a couple extra minutes after I'm done, I'll show you how I did it. But you can actually get a map to where that photo was actually taken. It doesn't do this automatically. You can see that I uploaded this photo yesterday. It has 62 views, 3 favorites, and 8 different people have commented. When I go down to the comments, you can see that it's already it's received some awards, right? So I got an award here, got one here, got one here, got one here. Got quite a few. I got 4 of these. So if the way that you do this, and what's really neat is this is a group of photographers. It's a group and it's called The Look. There's many different groups that do this on Flickr. What you can do is you can go and join this group. And when you join this group, you can post a photo to this group. And then what they ask is that people are going to come and look at your photo. If they like your photo, there's 18,500 members of this group. As people post a photo in there, for every photo you post, they're asking you that you give 4 awards to other photos. Bob, this is kind of the direction, by the way, just as a side note, that I was thinking that we could do with the gold stars.
Yeah.
And still working on that. But so the way that this works is let's say that I want to post one of my photos in here. I've got a notification up here that's telling me that I've got 3 other people. Oh, look, remember we just tagged this photo here, this flower group? Did I show you this earlier? I
Yes.
added this to a group this morning. I don't know if I did it before the call or while we were on the call.
Yeah,
This,
we did.
this is the most popular photo that I've ever shared, which, by the way, it's got 10,000 views. No idea why it's the most popular, because it drives me crazy. It's all out of focus. I like the color. I like the contrast, but I think it's crazy out of focus. And I did
Oh,
this
it is
7
there.
years ago. It's a Russian thistle.
Yes.
But what I did do is I went down here and I added it to this DSLR group. And within the last hour, I've received 4 awards on it. Now, what's really neat is as soon as I get 5 awards, then I can post it to the level 2 group. So if we go back to the photo and then look at your photos more. The other thing that's really neat that Flickr does, and honestly, the reason that this has 10,000 views, Flickr every day puts out an explore link. You can come up here and you can go to, I think it's the Commons. No, maybe it's just recent photos. Every day, Flickr just randomly picks photos. They have some sort of formula that they'll go out and pick nice photos and they'll put them up here. And if your photo gets up here, these photos get a ton of views. We like this one of whatever town that is.
Where
Look at this. They're at 53,000 views already.
well,
That's
that's good. That's from there.
53,000 people in that image. I think that's amazing. And just in the last 30 seconds since I first went and looked at my last notification, I already have another one. Come up here and click on it. Oh, hey, Robert. Now I see that Robert's following me. I can go to his and I can follow him, but I already am. That's the basics of what I wanted to show you with Flickr. We have 5 or 10 minutes left. Any questions that you have?
How do you decide what you want to put up there?
That is a great question. I take thousands of photos. This trip alone, let's see, like I said, I'm new to Lightroom. Let's move this thing somewhere over here. I'm new to Lightroom, so let's see if we can remove the filter. No, filter off. These are all the images that I took when I took that hike a couple weeks ago up into the desert. How did I decide those are the ones that I wanted to upload? I go through when I first get my images. See if I can just bring them here. There you go. I import my images into Lightroom. What I'll do is I'll go through them quickly, and I'll give each one a score. And to give it a score, you just number 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Let's say I want to rate this a 4. I just hit the number 4 on my keyboard, and that means that at some point I want to come back and look at it again, right? So I go through and I rate each one of my photos. I'm only going to post my better photos up to the site. So see, yeah, I got that one. That's all right. Oh, that's
Yeah.
kind of cool. That's not bad. It needs some work. Needs some post editing love, right? So we'll give that a 4. Well, then after I do my post editing love, and once I make that decision, me personally, I only upload stuff that's on a 4 or a 5. So let's increase the exposure a little bit, increase the contrast, warm it up. I don't know. I don't know if I really like it as much as I thought I did. Clarity.
Chris, are there other judges or besides you being a critic of your own work, then to get those awards that you have, are those by the number of lookers, or are there people that are part of a group that actually do some critique work?
Great question. When everybody who posts in these groups are critiquers
Our
in general.
critics, our critics,
Yes.
yeah.
So, and not their, okay, reason, and you hit on a really interesting point. I like the reason that Butch and I really started to push for this group, and Bob is your photography will
Wonderful.
dramatically improve when you start being critiqued.
Yeah.
And you have to grow a thick skin. And it's really hard to do, because when you start developing an art, sometimes people get really emotional about it. I do. I've had people ask me to go take photos of weddings, and I refuse. I'm like, I'm not going to go take a photo. And they're like, well, why not? You take good images. And I'm like, because I photograph for me. And if you don't like what I'm taking photographs of, I don't care. These are for me. But as soon as you're paying me to do that, then you're
Yeah.
asking me to take photos of you, and you want to see what you want to see. I photograph for what I want to see. And so it's a conflict of interest. But
Sure.
the reason I'm kind of going down this rabbit hole is there's actually groups that you can go join that you submit your photos to simply to be critiqued. Like I said, grow a thick skin, because
Yep.
people will critique it. And if I'm looking at this photo and I'm critiquing it, I'm going to tell you, you know what? The color on this just isn't there. And this is a boring image to me. I like the
Not
color
enough
in the
fun.
blue,
Not enough
but
contrast or something.
yeah, there's something wrong. It's not overexposed. It's not underexposed. It just is a boring photo. It needs some life to it. But with that being said, if I want to get those awards, I simply come down here. I'll add it to a group like we talked about earlier. We'll do this one to the look. And you add it into level 1. Now that it's there in the group, and I can confirm it by going to photos, right? Now let's say, let me move this back over here. I need to go critique some photos. And so for me to do that, I need to take some award codes, and somewhere in their page, they're going to have the award code. Usually it's in a discussion, or they'll have it pasted down here somewhere.
What's in the
Here
word?
in particular, the award code is you post, you copy this batch of code, and you just hit copy on it, right?
Oh.
Then we're going to come up here. We're going to go to photos. Wow, look at this. You guys think this deserves a reward
Yes.
Yes.
or
Yes.
an award?
Absolutely. Yes.
I do too. So I'm going to scroll to look at this. Look at that neat little. I'm going to scroll to the very bottom. I'm in here, and I'm just going to click. It's just that copy that I just made of all that code. So as soon as I comment on it, it's going to give them that little reward.
Oh.
Every group has its own award. So this group that we're in, I have to do that 4 times now. So I don't know if you can see it. You see this little arrow here on the right where
Yeah.
my cursor thumb is?
Yeah.
If you
Yes.
click that, now I have to go through and award 3 more photos. I'm going to do it real quick since we're right in the middle of a class. I'm hitting Control Home and Control N to go quicker. Ooh, that is really neat. That's so neat that, you know what? I want to like that photograph. Why can I not like it?
Oh, black and white.
Well, that's interesting. I can't like that photo. I think that's an awesome photo. I'm going to control N, paste my code in there, comment, control home, go to the next one. We'll do this one too, because we don't like that, but
Well, that's a good one.
a different one, huh? Yeah, that's good.
Oh, yes.
Every time you go into this group, you have to comment 4 times.
Only if you post an image.
So if you post, then you have to return the favor and comment on 4 other photos.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a pyramid
And they
scheme
don't-
for awards.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it is. It's a pyramid scheme for awards. But it doesn't
It's
cost
just a
you
matter of
anything.
interest. Are the ones at the top the ones that normally get the awards, or do people actually scroll through and, do diligence?
Oh, I bet
Usually people will go, most people will do within the most recent 24 hours
Uh-huh.
on more active groups. I've gotten rewards on codes 3 or 4 days after I've posted an image, but most of the time it's within 24 hours of posting an image. Linda, did you have a question? I saw you got your hand raised because we're almost done.
I just got back on and I don't know if you shared this or not, Chris. How do you delete? And can you delete several pictures at one time or just one by one?
It's a great question. So one of the other benefits to Flickr is that if you upload all your images, Bob, remember, Bob, you kind of tied into your question a little bit. Bob had asked the question, how do I know what photos I put on Flickr? I only put the photos on that I want to keep. One of the reasons that I pay for Flickr, I get 9 terabytes worth of space, 900 gigs, some obnoxious number of huge. I'm only using like a small percentage of it, and I think I have 3,000 photos loaded. Let's see, I don't even know. I've got 3,600 photos uploaded, and I'm using like 5% of my space. One of the reasons that I like to do this is because if something were to ever happen to my computer, I can always go back to Flickr and re-download my photos. But to your question, Linda, you can come here under you and you can go to your camera roll. Your camera roll is a less friendly interface sometimes. And you can delete photos. Is it your camera roll? It doesn't look right. Group galleries, favorites, albums, photos.
Yeah, it's putting them in chronological order.
Yeah, there's another interface here that so you go to your camera roll, select on the image you want, and a couple images you want, and you can delete them.
Now, do those get deleted across the spectrum of Flickr or just in your little space?
The only place where your photos are stored are in your space. If you share the photograph, let's say I had shared that, if I deleted it, it will be removed off of everywhere that photograph has been shared,
Oh, okay.
as long as you own the photograph to delete it. Did you know these cactuses that we have here at Leisure World bloom in the middle of the night?
Yeah, those are serious.
They are so cool. And they're so hard to photograph. But if you can get them, they're amazing. Anyways, that's a one-off tidbit. The green crested blue heron that I photographed a couple years back. He was beautiful.
Did you get any pictures of the storks and the spoonbill over at the Gilbert Riparian this last week?
No, but I do have some spoonbills that I've captured in the wild.
Oh, these were
Down somewhere.
It was migrating. I think it was migrating with the storks.
Wow. No, but I do have photos of storks and spoonbills. But I didn't catch those this week.
Apparently the Gilbert riparian is on the migratory route for the storks.
Really?
Yeah, who knew? And there were 5 of them over in the ponds like last week.
Oh,
Find a lot of them
cool.
around hospitals.
So before
Just
we
kidding.
wrap up, I got that, Bob.
I'm sorry, I said storks. I actually meant pelicans. My apologies.
Oh, okay.
Oh, see, we need to tell my wife that because my wife's a huge Pelican fan. Before we wrap up, the one thing that I'd like to mention is you can follow people. I go here to the Leisure World Group, LEI,
I,
Hi, here you go.
and if I search groups, where did I search people or images? Group. There we go. Make sure that if you want people to follow you, the best way to do it is to follow them. And so when you come over and you look at members, you'll see that I follow everybody who becomes a member. That doesn't mean you have to follow me, but it's going to be the best way to have people view your image and share your art. So I'm going to call this a day. If you guys have any questions about Flickr that I haven't answered, put my email address in the chat. I encourage everybody to use the Leisure World Flickr group, and I'm glad you all came, and I hopefully you got something out of it.
I do have another question, Chris. This is Charlene. Can this particular group or any group be tied to our website? Can we create a link for
It's a great
people
question.
to go onto our group, our Flickr group? And so all they have to do on our website is have a little link, press a link, and it takes them to Flickr.
Yep. So if this is our URL, and we can put that link directly on the website, put a little Flickr image that pops you over to here.
I'll take care of it.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's great. Maybe just a comment, Chris. When we're
Yes, ma'am.
back, we can be with people in real life again. Maybe you could take us on a photo shoot.
Yeah.
You know what? I would be more than happy to lead a photo shoot. I work during the day.
So we'll
But
go early evening at dusk.
And my wife and I both love to hike and go look at different things. My wife and I just did a photo shoot over at what was it called? Montezuma's Castle. Have you guys been there?
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes.
That place is amazing.
Yes, beautiful.
Absolutely amazing. But I would be more than happy to lead a photo shoot or photo walk.
Yeah.
I
Great.
used to do a lot of portrait stuff. And, I'm more than happy to share what I know. I'm still learning.
Anyway, thank you very much. It was a very helpful session.
My pleasure. And I've got 3 more chats.
Yeah, Chris, I wanted to, don't forget, I designed a little award for our group too. We hope to have some sort of program eventually where we get this thing going a little bit more. And then we have a Leisure World Award that you could award other people too if you're visiting from the group. But we'll have to talk about that and develop that down the road.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where I was going to Gold Star ideas to have a Leisure World. Hey, thanks Charlene for posting this, or thanks Alan or whoever. But I do. I hope everybody has a great day, Bob. I'm turning it
Okay.
back over to you, sir.
Go ahead and
Chris,
stop.
that was so awesome. Thank you for taking the time.
Thanks
to
so much,
Thank
Chris. I
you,
appreciate
Chris.
it.
Thank you,
My
Chris.
pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. And did anybody else have anything else? And if not, I'm going to turn it over to the after the show.
Bob, where is Chris? Is he here in Leisure World now, or is he still
Yeah.
up in?
Yeah, he's in his manor right now.
And Chris, will you be
Oh,
staying with us
all
for
right.
a while?
I, as of right now, I'm here. There was a potential that we were gonna be moving to Southern California. As of now, we're here for a little bit longer,
Oh,
at
good.
least a little bit longer.
Very
Good.
good. Okay, I'm gonna leave the meeting, and then those that want to stay and visit can do so. Diane will be in charge.
Have a
Everybody,
good
Thank
weekend.
you.
thank you, Chris. It was
You're welcome.
Thank
great.